Middleton or without Dame, and then you get the Knicks who are all beat up. And so I don't know whether or not Newton is going to be good enough to help put you over the hump, but I think I wouldn't put it past him. He seems to be one of them dudes that when he shows up, winning happens. And, man, I'm all in on that. Yeah, when they got him, I thought it was great. I really did. I think a lot of people in Indiana know because Newton killed the Hoosiers and really killed Purdue, too, in the national championship game. I think a lot of people in Indiana are excited about him.
Is it a new thing for second-rounders now? Because it felt like it was a foregone conclusion. You ain't going to see the court unless you get really lucky. But since, Jokic coming from the second round, Jalen Brunson coming from the second round, there's just been a history over the last 10 years of those guys actually making it to the big boy league instead of hanging out in the G League. We also got Cam Spencer. He went to Detroit in the second round from UConn. Just second-rounders, do they have more of a chance here in 2024-25 than they ever have?
Yeah, I think so, and I'll tell you why. A lot of times if you look at the guys in the second round, now Furphy's a little bit different, but, between Newton and Spencer, you're talking about older guys, and the first-round guys, just look at the first couple draft picks. I mean, nobody in the United States knows those guys. They're from France, for crying out loud, which really pisses me off.
No, yes.
That, look, French for food, briquettes, all that kind of crap, culture maybe, but not basketball. The French should never be dominating 3 of 6. Screw the French with basketball. But anyway, yeah, I just think older guys. I think potential is great, and obviously, a lot of NBA superstars were drafted. You think about Garnett, or you think about Kobe, those kind of guys, LeBron. But if you're not one of those guys, and you are drafted on potential, a lot of times you get in training camp and you go, wait a second here. Yeah, he's going to be our guy 5 years from now, but not right now. And an older guy that knows how to play a little bit and has been around it looks pretty good, particularly to a coach, because, a GM can get by. He's building a team. A coach, as you've seen in the NBA, man, sometimes it's one and done. So you're sitting there going, am I going to play this 19-year-old kid who, is going to be good 5 years from now when he's playing under a different coach? Or am I going to play a guy like Cam Spencer or Tristan Newton that I think is going to help me win this particular game? So I think a lot of people are realizing that, but the NBA will never stop drafting on talent. It's just the way the league is set up. But, man, oh, man, more and more. We had a second-round pick here. Played unbelievable, Andrew Nebhart, in the Celtics steer. He was terrific as a second-round pick. So, older, more mature gets discounted in the NBA when it's draft time, but it becomes necessary when it's game time, if that makes any sense.
Talking to Dan Dakich from Don't At Me on Outkick. Let me ask you, 2 big men went early. Our guy from UConn, Donovan Clingan, number 7, to Portland, number 9, Zach Edey. They played the national championship game. Your thoughts on a lot of people going away from these big guys that may not light up threes? We know Clingan can shoot threes. We watch him in warm-ups. He shoots like 28 out of 30. He nails them from 3. But your thought on rim protectors and these 7-footers, that it was almost like forcing people to take him in the top 10.
That's a great way to put it, because it did become that. Like, Clingan, because he can shoot, and I think the NBA, saw that. I think he obviously was a guy that was higher. But, it doesn't surprise me when a guy like Edey moves up, and I'll tell you why. Edey has a really good touch. Like, if Edey was a 35% or 60% even free throw shooter, I'd say, okay, no. You got to be careful here, but he really has a nice touch. He's got good form on his jump shot. He shoots it up high. So it didn't surprise me that he moved up. It surprised me he moved up to number 9. And the other thing about Edey is a rare big guy that has a real chip on his shoulder. Like, big guys a lot of times play basketball because they're big guys, right? Edey has a legit chip. Like, I'm playing pissed off that I'm 7'5", and I'm going to show you that I can play basketball, kind of a thing. And it's kind of cool. The trainer at Purdue was my trainer at Bowling Green. He's a very good friend of mine, and he's told me that for years. And then he said, Edey really figured out conditioning when he played for the Canadian team. And Clingan, if you look at modern basketball, I mean, he's what you want, right? 7-footer, can go rebound at the top. He doesn't rebound low. He rebounds with extended arms. He's got a good enough jump shot that you think, as we just talked about, he can go make a bunch. when you need him to. And he understands blocking shots. I'll tell you this, one thing about shot blocking, and you're going to hear this nowhere but here, it is an absolute skill. It is not just because somebody's tall. It is because you understand timing, you have certain length, you do things at the top, meaning you extend yourself, and it's fascinating. And Klingon has that. Edey actually has that, as big as he is. So I don't know, maybe in 3 years there are two guys that just keep getting traded around as part of, deals, or maybe in 3 years they become guys that are averaging 15 to 18 and they're mainstays on good teams. I honestly don't know which way it's going to go, but I'm glad to see the NBA pick two big guys that seem like really good dudes. You know what I mean? Just good dudes.
The last guy from UConn, which was the first guy drafted, we're super excited for Stephon Castle going to the Spurs. We all believe that that's a legitimate franchise that's going to take care of this kid and try to mature him the right way. And then we see today CP3, Chris Paul, gets added to that roster, and you got to think that he is going to try to show this young rookie the ropes. My question is, does that happen in the NBA? Do older guys bring up the younger guys knowing that this guy's basically taking your spot?
Chris Paul's a fraud, and so I don't buy anything Chris Paul does. Chris Paul could tell me that the grass I'm looking at is green, and I'd have to look at it 4 times. If Chris Paul is under Popovich, then he should be a leader. Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that guys are smart enough to want to win before anything else, particularly at that stage of your career. But I will tell you this, there was a kid that was at Bowling Green. His name is Antonio Daniels. He played a long time in the NBA, played for Popovich, actually. And I got the Bowling Green from Indiana, and he had just graduated, and he came to see me, just say hello. And I said, hey, man, I got to tell you now, you're going to training camp as a second pick in the draft. I said, you better not step off the curb if a veteran is in the parking lot in his car, because he's not going to kill you, but he's going to clip you and make you miss a few weeks so he can get a paycheck or two. So it's one of those deals where, yeah, dudes will try to help you, but not too much if you're going to take their job. And I don't think, Castle's going to take Chris Paul's job, and I would hope that Chris Paul's smart enough to help a kid, particularly, when you got Wembanyama there too, so you got some real talent, because I think Castle's great. I think Castle's terrific, and he's going to add to whatever team he plays on.
I know you got to jump into a meeting here real quick. I wanted to ask you about Caitlin Clark and what she's done for the WNBA, and even the commissioner came out and thanked her and stuff like that. But in Indiana and in Indianapolis, in that area, how excited are they for what she's been doing?
Insanity, Dibs. Insanity, man. Every game sold out. Jerseys everywhere. The debate, who's better, her and Angel Reese. We've got a rivalry buddy. It's great. Look, I mean, you guys have the Yankees, the Red Sox to talk about, national championships to talk about. We don't have squat to talk about here. What are we supposed to talk about? Should Pete Rose be in the Hall of Fame? It's like it used to be, Dibs, in the summer it was Bobby Knight should come back to Indiana and Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame, and that got you through July, right? On Sports Talk Radio. And now it's like, hey, Caitlin Clark dropped 20 last night and kicked Diana Taurasi's ass or whatever she did, right? So now we got something to talk about that, at least for us. What the hell? But no, it's great because I've said this forever, man. She's handled this better than anybody. She's handled it better than anybody, including probably all of us, her team. I mean, she's just been great. And she keeps playing well, keeps doing a lot of good things. And I love the rivalry with Reese. I mean, what the hell? I mean, why not have a Bird Magic type rivalry? What the hell? I love it.
What secret sauce has Brad Stevens found that no one else has in the NBA that makes him so successful?
He's just smarter than everybody. Like I've said this, and this, look, Brad Stevens, Kevin Pritchard, obviously Pat Riley, they're just smarter than everybody else. I mean, you look at the moves, so you're telling me that the Philadelphia 76ers are going to be good by getting Paul George on the team? Come on. He hasn't added to anything on any team. He was good early. You're telling me you want to sign Tobias Harris for $26 million on your team? Look, Brad Stevens, when you talk to Brad Stevens, you feel like, you just got smarter. He looks like a 12-year-old. When I first met him, I think he was 12.
That's true.
But he's just like, man, he's just smart, and he's like, it's like Lute Olson. Like Coach Knight used to have to cuss, yell, scream, all that kind of stuff. Lute Olson, he'd make you feel. I remember playing golf with him, and I said something dumb, and he made me feel dumb just by looking at me. And Brad's just that kind of guy. He's just got. I don't know, man. He's just really, really smart. And I think the rest of the GMs in the NBA are incredibly stupid. I would argue that the dumbest executives in sports are NBA general managers, and I don't think it ever gets exasperated or it gets shown more than this week or today with all the money they spend on guys that don't help you win. Brad just wants guys that are going to help him win. I mean, think about the guy. Think about that Derek White. How good is he?
Great player.
Man?
Yep.
They had Romeo Langford, who everybody in Indiana will say, oh, he's so great. I thought he was Brad drafted him, and I said, you don't make many mistakes, but you made a mistake here. He called me like a year later and said, you're right about the mistake, and I'm rectifying it. Next thing you know, Romeo Langford gone Derek White in, and the dude is just brilliant. He's just a brilliant human being and a really good dude.
Dakich, love you, man. Jump into your meeting. We appreciate your time, buddy. Talk to you later.
Dibble for Reds Hall of Fame. I won't stop until
I'm going to be in Cincinnati next week, man. I'm hoping they give me my ticket.
I heard TMZ's in town. Bottle service, velvet ropes. I know what happens with you, big boy.
Doc, you're the best. Thank you, buddy. Yep, take care. All right, first dibs question of the day coming up next.
84.